into the YouTube link.
Okay, right. We're showing us live with a 0 viewer count, so I don't think there's definitely a lag. So
yeah,
we'll hold on.
Well, there's some people appearing.
Ah, they're there.
Yeah, there's some people appearing.
Fantastic.
There's definitely a lag, so yeah.
Oh, Sarah, you have to turn your volume off on the other link.
Hang on.
I can hear myself.
Hang on. Right, my volume is off.
Brilliant. Okay. Oh, 14 viewers. Fantastic. 17 viewers. Brilliant. Right. Okay. So I think we're there then. So hi there, everyone. Good afternoon from a cold and frosty morning here in the UK. We haven't had anything very much since yesterday in the way of queries, so I hope that means you all understand exactly what we're doing and where you're going and all that kind of thing. But obviously, if there's anything you want to raise now, please do so. Sarah is keeping an eye on the chat room. We've both got our morning coffee, so we're all set. So yeah, any queries, anything you didn't understand, please ask. We're going to keep saying this because we don't want anyone not knowing what's going on or getting left behind or worried or anything like that. So where did we get to yesterday? I did post a summary blog which gave the link to this session, so I guess you've seen that if you're here watching now. I put in that some of the links that we asked you to do yesterday, which was specifically about the survey, the MOOC, the study guide, and the 2 documents that Sarah produced, the 2 summary documents, one of which was the star diagram, which showed how the different stages of the module fit together, and the other being the overall timetable, which showed exactly what we're covering on each day. So hopefully you should all have got and read and absorbed those and be clear about where we're at. So have we got any questions coming through so far, Sarah?
Not so far. Someone's asked about the MOOC. What is the MOOC? And I've just said check the blog, but I think that the general advice is obviously go straight to the blog and also ask your friends, ask the other people that are on the course as well. Because obviously some of these questions we answered yesterday, and we're not going to kind of keep going back on stuff. So use the people that you're with on the course as well and ask them. And if anybody wants to answer the questions in the chat room as well as me, because you know the answer, you're very welcome. Go for it.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, yeah, I have got the MOOC open, which I was going to show in a minute anyway, so I can say a little bit more about that. If you want to see these sessions again, they are recorded automatically by YouTube. And if you look in the module blog now, in the right-hand column, you should see yesterday's session at the top of the list on top of all of last year's. So if you wanted to recap anything from yesterday, you can go to the blog, click on that link, and you can watch the whole thing again. Obviously you can't engage in real time anymore on that one. But yeah, it'll be there forever. So please make use of that. If you missed yesterday or you had any kind of tech glitch that you need to recap anything, the whole session is there. Right, okay then, so where you should be at today, Sarah is hopefully at this very moment checking to see if any of you have completed your Google Forms.
We have got quite a lot of responses, so I'll let you know in a minute how many there are.
Fantastic. Okay, so yeah, details to Sarah about your contact information, your blog URL and that kind of thing, so we can get the your posts hooked into the module blog, so everybody's will be in one place. So obviously we can't do that until we've got your information. Okay, and in terms of what you should be doing next, the first thing to do with your blog is to actually post something on it. We have got an official intro post that we're going to be asking you to do, and we'll say more about that tomorrow and give you a bit of background information. But one thing you can do to get started is an About Me section. Most of the blog themes have the ability to set a specific page or section of the blog which is called About Me or something like that. where you can just add a picture of yourself and a bit of a description about who you are, what you're blogging about, and why you're doing it, that kind of thing. So it doesn't need to be an essay, but just a short paragraph to introduce yourself is a good way of getting your blog up and running if you've literally just opened it today or yesterday. So that's something you could be doing to help you find your way around the whole blogging process. And then when we come to read your posts, obviously we can click on that as well, and we can see a little bit of background and get a bit of context as to who you are. Right. Okay, so I said I would show you the MOOC, so I'm just going to try the magic screen share, which is, and I know there's a delay on this, so just bear with me a minute. Somewhere here, we should have, oh dear, it's disappeared. We've got the, hang on. Yes, got it. So, Sarah, if you could tell me what's appearing on the screen.
I will.
The viewing link. Brilliant. So it should be showing the study guide.
I've got the blog up with your review of day 1 post, so right. I can see that.
Brilliant. Okay, so this is the post I was talking about just now that I put up after yesterday's session with the links that we discussed. And then you can see the tweets that are coming up. So if you've got any pictures to send through today, perhaps the view out of your window or something like that, that would be great. So if you pop up any pictures on Twitter with the module hashtag, they will come up in this list here. And then this is what I was talking about just now, the YouTube link. You can see the very top link now is called Living and Working on the Web Introduction, 7th of November. So that's yesterday's session you can click through to. And all the ones underneath are from last year. They will obviously get pushed further and further down the list as the current ones are added to it. So anyway, what I was supposed to be showing you was the MOOC. So can you now see, Sarah, the MOOC?
I can see the MOOC, absolutely.
Brilliant. Right. Okay. So this is our 2-week open online course that's currently running. We've got approximately 300 people, I think, at the moment who are working on this. And this is the sort of contents page, which shows what different sections are available. So it's just like a book contents page, really. And it talks through all the different sections that are available in this current first week of the MOOC, right down to summary activities at the end. And you can see that each section is labelled with a number, and you can click through from this content page to the specific sections that you want. Now, what we will be doing when we go through the different topics on this module is we'll refer you to different sections here on the course that are particularly relevant and that will give you not just extra information, but also the ability to interact with people who are on that course currently and who could be from anywhere in the world. So if I show you an example, let's see, what should we look at? There's a discussion here, for example. So I'll just click on that. And you'll see there's a bit of text. It's really just like a short blog post. And then there's a little link here called Join the Discussion. And if I click on that, I can see the posts that people have made. There's one there, you see, about that particular question that was raised. Now, I've picked a really bad example because there's only one comment in there so far, because this is later in the week. But all the structure is the same throughout the course. Let me see if I can find.
I was in this morning because I'm mentoring on this course, and there aren't an awful lot of comments, but I think it's only because a lot of people don't have much time during the week, but they'll pick it up evenings and weekends. So I think this weekend we'll see a lot more activity.
Yeah, I mean, certainly when we've run this course twice before now, and last time we started with about the same number and we ended up with about 1,500 after the end of the 2 weeks. So the numbers, Sarah's right, the numbers do go up. So this is the very first section. So this is the introduction. So here, if I click on join the discussion, there are 43 comments. So you can see hear what people have said, and you can just go in where it says add a comment. You can go in and add your own response to what's being said, or you can start your own comment. You don't just have to reply to what's already there. Okay, so this course, as Nick was saying yesterday, it doesn't directly mirror the module. There are things in it which probably are above and beyond what we'll be covering. So don't feel as though you have to go through every single thing. And we will point you to the sections we think will be particularly useful to you. But obviously you're welcome to do as much of it as you wish. And it would be great to see people in there joining in the discussions, saying that they're Southampton students, and generally sort of engaging with other people. Okay, right, so let's go back, if I can get back to the right page. Where are we? Hang on, I've lost my way totally. There we are. Right, stop screen sharing. I've got too many windows open now. Right, so we should be back to you and I now, Sarah.
Yes, right? Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, have we got any questions coming through?
Yeah, so I was going to say there are 50 people that have filled in their Google Forms, so hurrah for that. That's really good.
Brilliant.
Questions we've had, the first one was, well, where should we post questions? To which my reply was, well, obviously here and now is a good time. After that, Twitter, using the hashtag, because I mean, obviously I'm constantly dipping in and out of Twitter during the day, and I know you are, and Nick will be, because all of this is going on. So Twitter's a good place to go. The other question we had was, what do I need to do on Scoop It? And the answer is you don't need to do anything. It's just there with some extra links and information if you feel you should need it. Yep,
that's a pretty good summary. You can email us if you wish.
Oh yes, I'd forgotten email.
good old email. The email addresses should be in the study guide. I'm pretty sure they are. And I sent a general email to the whole group.
Yes.
Just before the course started, so you can just reply to that if you need. Sarah, what's your email address, just in case? Can you just read it out, or pop it in the chat? Pop the address in the chat room or something.
So sh9g14.
Really memorable. Yes. Wish you could have jot it down in the chat room.
I do have a right. I do have a better one, which I'm looking it up because even I can't remember. Right, so it's simple. It's just s.hewitt@southampton.ac.uk. So that's easy to remember.
Hewitt spelled H-E-W-I-T-T.
That's it. s.hewitt@southampton.ac.uk. In fact, if I hold up my business card, I've got so used to the one I was given when the initial kind of student one, that's the one I remember.
Oh, looks very grand.
Oh, look, you can see it. Look, amazing. Right, there we go.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, what have we done then? I've just shown you briefly the MOOC. We've reiterated about contacting us with questions. Have we got any more live questions at the moment?
No, somebody very helpfully copied my email address into the chat on YouTube, which is magnificent. Well done. I don't know why I didn't think of doing that myself. It's a bit early in the morning for me, I've got to say. As a research student, at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm normally still in bed having a cup of coffee, surfing the internet, that kind of thing. So that is why my brain's not working.
And I should tell you all as well that Sarah lives on a boat.
Yes.
And one of your colleagues, I think it was 2 years ago now, one of your colleagues came over to visit us in Southampton, and we gave him a tour of Sarah's boat. And we took him to a pub, and I think he had fish and chips. So it was a very kind of English day, wasn't it? It was great.
It was lovely.
So if any of you are planning a trip to the UK, we will see if we can organise a visit to Sarah's boat for you. Which literally is on the water down at Southampton. So anyway, enough wittering for me. Sarah, would you like to say a little bit about posting and making sure the topics are using the right category and that kind of thing to get people in the swing of things?
Yep. So every time you do a blog post for us, you have to tag it correctly. I have actually written a blog post which I'll pop back up onto the site, which kind of takes you through step by step, because it can be a bit tricky. But you need to make sure that it's tagged topic 1, topic 2, topic 3, so that it will be picked up when I syndicate your blog post. But you know, like I said, I'll get that blog post up again, because it's kind of straightforward, but it's the trickiest thing. And if I put that blog post up, it'll take you through it step by step. But if you don't tag it, then it means that obviously it doesn't show in on the official blog post, which means that your fellow students can't find you, they can't click and easily read your blog. And also when it comes to leaving blogs on other people's posts, you know, we need you to be able to find each other easily. So that is quite an important thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a digital filing system, really, isn't it? We just want to make sure that all the topic 1 posts are listed under the topic 1 section, and all the announcement posts are listed under the announcement section, that kind of thing. Just because there's so many of you as well, the blog is going to get quite crowded quite quickly. So it's important that people can find what they're looking for, where it should be, and not have to sort of hunt all over the place for it. So yes, Sarah, that'd be brilliant if you could sort of repost that.
I will.
That post from last time into the main section, and also tag it with announcements, so it stays prominent.
Yep.
Then that would be brilliant. Okay, have we got any more questions?
Nothing so far. Somebody was asking for Wesley said address, please, but I'm not sure what address you're looking for, Wesley. Were you referring to the blog address? No, my email's up. Well, I wonder if you were referring to the blog. Not sure.
No. Perhaps you could put a bit of clarification.
Yeah.
In there, so I can reply. It's sometimes the problem, I think, with the chat questions is they can get a bit out of sync, and if different people are posting at the same time, you can find you're answering the wrong question, or it looks like you're answering a different question from the one you are. So yeah, a bit of clarification on that one would be useful.
Yeah, just going to pop it up now.
Anything else in there?
Not so far. Right. Because I'm typing in YouTube, which doesn't want you to put in email addresses or URLs, I'm obviously leaving out the dots or the slashes, but I'm putting in the blog address into YouTube, and hopefully it will, yeah, it's accepted. So you can, it's blog.sutton.ac.uk/mang2049. So that is the official blog. Okay.
Yeah, and that's really the important place where everything centres upon, because that's where we'll be posting up reminders about what's due, summaries of what we've discussed in these sessions, and where you can link to everybody else's posts. So, you know, make sure you've got that bookmarked. Right, okay. I was going to also show you a few of the slides that we mentioned yesterday. So I'm going to try another screen share, which is interesting. Come on. Let's go. Right, Sarah, if you could tell me what's, yeah, we had this problem yesterday.
Yes, infinite.
Infinite screens. Hang on, I'm going to stop that and start again.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was not.
It's all gone quantum.
Very good. Yeah, very Star Trek. Right. So, that might be the one. Right. Yeah.
That's better.
So we should now be back at the module blog that we were just discussing. Right. Okay. So homepage, and first post from yesterday with some slides. Right. So we mentioned yesterday that this slide deck was there, which is kind of a summary of the first week, really. So I'm not going to go through every single slide, but just to show you one or two things to perhaps help you get started. Now let's see. Just click through quickly. Right, so this is the one I wanted to mention. So setting up your blog, which is kind of where we're at the moment, there are a few examples here from previous years, which are linked to in this slide that you might want to have a look at. These aren't related to the module. These are students from Southampton on other programs, and they're a couple of years old now, but I just put those in as some examples of why people blog and the sorts of things they blog about that aren't directly related to the posts in this course. Obviously, from the module blog, you can look at your colleagues from previous years in the archive section. As I mentioned yesterday, we've got all the posts that all of your colleagues have written for this module for the past 3 years. So you've got lots of previous examples to have a look at should you be struggling with any aspects of blogging. So just to point out that there's some more general ones linked there. And hang on, an important thing to bear in mind, you probably know this already, but just to reiterate, the whole issue of filter bubbles is a very topical thing at the moment, as I'm sure you're aware, and all sorts of issues about social media and the information we get from social media and how accurate or objective it might be depending on which networks we belong to. It's very important that you recognise that you operate within a filter bubble, and if you want to really see what's going on, you have to click the appropriate page on Google which shows your information as other people would see it rather than how you personally see it, because Google will personalize results for you based on your behavior. So what you see as a result of Googling in terms of the results that you get, it could be quite different from what someone else gets for exactly the same search. So there's a link there to read up a bit more about it, and as I say, you're probably aware of that already, but please do bear that in mind. Another point about blogging, a more positive one, is that if you want your blog to get noticed and to attract readers and contributors from beyond your own network, then blogging is a great way to raise your digital profile. And if you've got an active blog, which yours will be on this course because you'll be continually posting and commenting and linking from them, then that makes it very visible to search engines. So it's an important point to bear in mind that this can be a very positive thing. For example, if you're looking for a job or a placement opportunity, if you've got a blog which showcases some really interesting and relevant content that you'd like to show to an employer, then it's a good thing, obviously, that it's displayed prominently in search results. But on the other hand, if you're posting stuff which isn't appropriate, photos, for example, that you might regret after they were taken, then obviously things are going to show up about you that you might not want people to see. So what we're covering on this module is very much about making sure your digital profile is professional and shows the things you want it to show, and minimises any difficulties that might arise from things that you don't want to be out there for the world to see. Is there anything, Sarah, that you'd like to add to that?
No, I don't think so. No, that all sounded fine. I can't think of anything to add. That's all good. So I just want to. There's a comment on the YouTube. Rebecca said the link to reach an error question mark. I don't know whether, Rebecca, you're trying to reach the blog address and you're not getting anything up, but when I said I put blog Sotton AC UK, so it's blog.sotton.ac.uk/MANG2049. I can't put the dots and slashes in because YouTube can recognises that I'm typing in a URL and it won't let me do it. But I'm sure someone there can point you in the right direction. There must be someone that's got the blog up that can show you what the address is, and then you'll be able to get there. Okay.
Any other comments on that, or anything on?
That was the only thing so far.
Oh, I'm just seeing. Oh, there's a comment about that. Rebecca has put a comment on Twitter about that Google address.
Okay.
The link can't be accessed, I guess. Oh, okay. All right. Well, we can check that out. We'll check that out afterwards.
Yeah.
And that's just a sort of an extra thing that's not, we don't want to get tied up with now, but okay, thanks for pointing that out.
Right, she's looking at google.com/settings/me.
Yeah, it's the link from the slides that I was showing just now. Okay, so we'll check that one out and get that corrected.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so I think now might be a good opportunity to ask people, if there aren't any specific questions, can you just give us some thumbs up or some smileys or something if you're okay with where we've got to so far, if you understand what we're doing, if you're clear about how it works. It would be good to see a bit of positive affirmation of that.
Have some smileys.
Don't forget, we can't see you, remember, so we've no idea what you're thinking at that end unless we get...
Here they come. Smiley faces are on their way.
Brilliant, fantastic.
Excellent.
Right, so it should be back with you and me on screen now.
Yeah. One thing I will say, when I start, when I go through the Google form and I see your blog addresses and I start syndicating your blogs, you'll see that your name will come up on the right-hand side. If I've got your name wrong, because I know a lot of you adopt British names, so if I get the name wrong, just let me know and I'll change it to your preference, because it's always tricky every year. You know, you have your family names. A lot of you adopt a British name, and that's all lovely, but I don't often know which is your preferred name. So if I get it wrong, just let me know. You can use Twitter or whatever method, and I'll change it. That's all fine.
Great, brilliant. Thanks, Sarah. Right, so in terms of what happens next then, what we're going to do tomorrow in this session is start discussing the introductory post that we would like you to, like the formal introductory post, if you like, that we'd like you to make, which we'll give you some official feedback on before you start doing your topic one, okay? So that's what we'll be covering in the session, Nick and I, tomorrow. And before we get to that, so between, over the next evening for you and during the morning tomorrow, it would be good if you could make sure that you're up to date with what we've covered so far. You've got all the information to Sarah that you need, so that Sarah can carry on getting your blogs hooked up, and that you're very clear about what is expected of you. You've perhaps had a look at the MOOC and had a go in there for the first time. So it would be really good if by tomorrow, when we have this session, everybody is there ready and waiting to start the first introductory blog post. Now, excuse me, losing my voice already. One of the other things that we're going to be doing, and this is something you can be thinking about as well, is as well as thinking about answering the questions for this course on your blogs, you need to be thinking about building your own digital presence. And obviously answering the blog questions and interacting with others will help you to do that. But each of you individually will at some point, if you're not already, be going out into the workplace. You'll be looking possibly for placement opportunities or jobs beyond university. And increasingly, particularly for marketing students like yourselves, employers don't just want a piece of paper with a CV. They want to see your profile. They want to see your portfolio of work that you've done, of things that you've been involved in, and to be able to link to your blog or to your LinkedIn profile, your Twitter account, is a really good way of making yourself stand out from the crowd. So one of the things we ask you to do in this module, alongside answering the specific questions, is to build up your own personal digital presence. And part of this is in the second assignment, the final piece of work that you do at the very end of the module, is you reflect upon what you've done to change and build your profile and what effect it might be having on how you engage on the web. So for example, something like making sure you've got professional photos on all of your sites that you want to be visible to the world. I noticed on Twitter a lot of you have opened new accounts for this module, which is fine, but not actually included a picture. So that just looks a little bit random. And if you've perhaps got a consistent presence, so if you've got one good picture, for example, you could use that on your blog, you could use it on your Twitter, you could use it on your LinkedIn, and any other site that you want to be sort of professionally available to the world. So alongside thinking about the module and the questions and the contributions to the course, make sure you don't forget what you can be doing to build up your own personal presence on the web that will be useful to you beyond the course. Is there anything, Sarah, that you want to sort of emphasize there, or you?
Yeah, so, well, I'm just putting on YouTube that for anybody that wants to look at my profile on Twitter, you'll see there's a link there to my blog. And I'm mindful that my blog is a showcase for the work I'm doing here at the university and all sorts of other things. And I fully expect that when I start applying for jobs, when I come to the end of this course and I'm looking for work, whether it's at university here or somewhere else, I fully expect to put my blog address on my CV and for potential employers to have a look, because they can tell an awful lot about me. And bearing in mind that, as you can obviously see, you know, I'm much older than Lisa and considerably older than you. And so I need, you know, I need as many things as possible to make myself attractive to an employer, because I'm going to be competing in a market where I'm going to be up against computer science students, data scientists who are much younger than me. So I need to show that I've got the skills and the knowledge just as much as they have. So it's really, really important for me, and that's why I set up my blog, and that's why I keep blogging and try and manage my profile as much as possible, because it's important to me, and it's going to be important to you as well, I'm sure.
Okay, great. Thanks, Sarah. Have we got any questions or anything coming through on that?
No. Sarah, you might want to note that there are two, right, Nix is the expert at pronouncing these words. So Xinyi, 2 Xinyis in the class. So that's fabulous. One of you maybe just needs to tell me at some stage whether you want to put another name in there as well, just to differentiate you from the other one. Just otherwise both names will come up together and they'll be next to each other and we won't know who's who. But don't worry about that for now. If that becomes an issue, I'll sort that out later.
Yeah, but thanks for pointing that out, because that's exactly the sort of thing we want to avoid, is getting people muddled up. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Anything else on there?
No, nothing. No, nothing. Just that comment. I've said that. If anybody wants to look at my profile on Twitter, there's a link to my blog, just in case anybody's interested. Also, I have got a website that I set up on GitHub, and I'll put a link up to that as well. It's a work in progress at the moment, but there's a picture of my boat on there, which is why I'm mentioning it. So if anybody wants to see where I live, then the picture will be there. So I'll do that later on as well. I will add that to my very long list of things to do.
Excellent. Okay. Right, so what we'll be doing after this session is, as yesterday, I'll write up a summary post, which just kind of remind you what we've discussed this morning and what I've flagged up to you as being the next stage that you should be thinking about in terms of the module. So do make sure you keep an eye on the blog so that you can check that post and make sure that you're up to speed on everything. And like I said, tomorrow Nick and I are going to be introducing you to the topic of digital visitors and digital residents, which is something, Sarah, if you could perhaps pop that in the chat. You might like to Google in advance of tomorrow, just if you're curious as to what digital visitors and digital residents might be and how it might relate to your first post. This is what we'll be discussing tomorrow, but do feel free to look it up and see if you have any initial thoughts on that matter, because this very much links into the whole discussion about online identity and how we operate on the web, to what extent we are part of the web or detached from the web, and how that's changing. So I think you'll find that an interesting introductory topic to get your teeth into. One thing I've just remembered I haven't mentioned is the self-test. And this sounds very formal, but it's basically, there'll be a link to it in this summary post that I'll write in a minute. But basically this self-test is just a one-page document which asks you to comment on your current level of digital skills in different categories. So it includes things like, do you contribute to online communities? Do you currently blog? All sorts. Well, there's about 6 or 7 different questions, which are quite basic, and you just rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5 in terms of how your current experience maps to these areas. And this is something else that you can incorporate into your first post, is the results of this test, along with a bit of reflection perhaps on which areas you're most experienced in and why that might be the case, or any particular areas that you feel you need to develop further that you haven't got much experience of. And the particular reason that this is important, above and beyond being part of your introductory post, is that it's something you'll come back to at the end of the module. Because at the end of the module, we'll ask you to do the same exercise again and comment on what you think has changed in terms of those different categories. So have you perhaps moved up from a 3 to a 5, or from a 1 to a 2, or whatever it might be in the different aspects of living and working on the web. So it is important to get that first record in place at an early stage so that you've got a good basis for comparison. You don't want to do this task kind of halfway through, because then you'll be neither one nor the other. You'll be probably better than you were at the start, but not as good as you will be at the end. So you won't have that kind of before and after direct comparison to make. So this is something we ask you to do right at the start of the module, is just complete this one-page self-test. It only takes a minute. But then in your introductory post, you'll be talking about the results and what areas you feel you need to concentrate on. Okay, so I'll put a link to that in the summary post. Okay, have we got any more questions coming through?
No, I've just been kind of following up what you're saying with a few notes, because someone did ask about the self-test earlier, which you've just mentioned, so that's brilliant.
Huh?
The other thing,
that was lucky.
The only other thing I wanted to say is I'm off to London later on today. I'm going to be presenting at Twitter HQ in London, which is rather nice.
Wow.
I'm just going to do it. It's only a 10-minute talk about my research, but mostly I'm excited. What I'm looking forward to is meeting all the other people that are presenting as well. But it does mean that I'm not going to be able to get to the admin side and kind of syndicating the blogs that have been set up and things like that until probably tomorrow morning. I will get my blog post up telling you how to tag your posts properly, so I will do that. But the other bits, you'll probably start seeing them early tomorrow. Well, in your case, it will be early tomorrow afternoon. For me, it will be in the morning. So I'll get onto it then. I'll do some today if I can, but I might not be able to. All right, so I will get on it, but don't be looking for anything within the next few hours.
Okay, and what's the event at Twitter, Sarah? It sounds exciting.
So it is. I was just looking it up. So it's oh, I've closed Twitter down. So it's the National Centre for Research in Sociology or something. So it's the focus of the event today is all about how the web can change or impact society. Hence, you know, my research fits in nicely with that, because I'm looking at what teachers say in their blogs. And there's quite a list of speakers. What I'll do, actually, I'll put a link on Twitter.
And that'd be good.
I'll put in our hashtag
for the event.
And I'll be tweeting all day long anyway, probably, because you know, that's what I do. So you'll be able to have a look and see what it is I'm doing, and you know, I'll tweet extensively.
Right, excellent. So will your presentation be recorded?
I don't know.
Or live stream?
I shall find out.
Yeah, okay. Well, we look forward to finding out more about that. Right, okay, so final check on questions then. If there aren't any more at this stage, we'll end there. So
yeah, no, there doesn't seem to be anything. But you know, if you do have a burning question after we've gone off air and you think that you should have asked something, go on to Twitter, because you know, like I said, I'm on there regularly. Lisa and Nick are also dipping in, so go to Twitter, ask the question, and we'll get back to you as quickly as we can.
Yeah, do make excuse me, losing my voice. Do make sure if you're tweeting that you include the module hashtag, otherwise your tweet will just vanish totally into the ether. Yeah. We won't see it if it doesn't have the hashtag. I've got a column on my laptop which shows all the tweets that come through with that particular hashtag, so I shouldn't miss any. But if you just tweet a general question without, it'll just get completely lost, because there's just far too much going on there. Right, okay, so I think we're done for today then. I'm going to sort that summary post now and post that up for you. And then Nick and I will be here tomorrow, same time. I'll also put you a link to tomorrow's session in the summary post. And then we'll be talking about digital visitors and residents, which will help you with that first post. Okay, so I think the voice is definitely going. I think we're done.
Victoria on YouTube says, drink some honey for your throat.
Yeah, unfortunately I've been concentrating and I've let my coffee get cold, so I'll go and sort that out in a minute. I don't like cold coffee.
Oh no.
No, horrible. But it's difficult to drink coffee when you're on a live show, because yes, you just feel very self-conscious about it. Right, okay, so we're going to say goodbye for now then. If you want to post any farewell smileys or thumbs up, that would be a nice way to end the session.
Yep.
And you'll see Sarah again on, what day are we? Wednesday. You'll see Sarah again on Friday.
Yep.
And Nick and I tomorrow. So enjoy the rest of your day, everyone, and we will speak to you soon. Okay, bye for now.
Bye.
You're still typing. Okay.
Yep.
Cheerio.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Bye.